This is Horror Sucks, the podcast where we watch horror movies and tell you why they suck. I'm Ashley Atkins, and I'm disappointed because we didn't get to do trivia today.
I'm Carter Rhodes, and I'm only here because all of my applications to be the local weatherman got declined. So,
You've been sitting on that one, haven't you?
no, that was actually very recent. I had to write it down. I was afraid I was going to forget it. So, this week, we decided to review The Gingerdead Man. You heard me right, The Gingerdead Man.
Yeah. Now, when you think of that, what do you think of?
Pain.
I think of Christmas. When I think Gingerbread Men, I think Christmas. So I thought this was a Christmas movie. And fitting enough, we are both wearing Christmas sweaters. You know what this movie is not? A Christmas movie.
Yeah, it's very un-Christmas now that I think about it.
Like, the only thing relatively Christmassy is the name, and I'm so disappointed.
It takes place in the South, too. So, like, at no point do they even allow you to have an impression of, like, cold or snow.
Yeah.
It just feels warm the entire movie. There's no reference to it even being December.
No.
For all we know, it's the summer.
It seems like gingerbread is just something they make regularly, which doesn't vibe. But anyways, So we're already off to a disappointing start.
I have a lot of thoughts on this movie, but
Are we getting
I'm
into
getting
it now?
into the thoughts in a second. Allow me a transition, if you will. First, we're going to tell you how we go about this.
All right, so for those of you who haven't been here before, how this kind of works is we review the plot of the movie, then we give some fun facts, then we go into our good, the bad, and the spooky segment, wrap it up with our impressions, the Joseph DeStasio Memorial highlight.
Line highlight. You don't make it sound stupid.
I'm really trying here. I've improved from last week.
You're doing great.
And then we wrap it up with a rating that neither of us know about.
Yes. So, yeah, we've kept the metric a secret. So all we know is that it's on a scale of 10. So first, how did we stumble across this movie, Ashley?
Great question, Carter. I am the most upset about it. I did recommend it because I thought it was a Christmas movie when I was looking up horror movies in the very beginning of creating the list of potential bad horror movies we could review. This is one of the quintessential stupid bad horror movies that I had in mind that we would be watching. And for some reason, when I put it on my note page, I also put that our friend Ian would want to be a part of this episode.
I put that, as I just knew he would.
Okay. Well, he's not here.
Yeah.
And
Dead, tragically. Another one.
Another one bites the dust.
We're going to have to make a separate line. Do you have any idea how taxing that is going to be on our dialogue? but from now on.
Eventually, but it'll work out when we get paid by word eventually.
Yeah.
Anyways.
They do that recorded word.
So I picked it because in my mind I thought it was a Christmas movie, and that's why we're here.
Like, I can't stress enough, this isn't a die-hard, like, not Christmas movie. There was nothing Christmas about this movie except for gingerbread.
I was devastated.
Yeah.
I at least expected like a little snow flurry at the beginning of the movie, or even like a tree, or just like some decorations, or not even Christmas, holiday. We'll say I thought it would be a holiday movie, and I was expecting a wreath or something.
Yeah, there was absolutely nothing in this.
I thought it was the summer, because I don't know how to tell seasons in the South, but
yeah. So why don't you give us the plot?
Okay. The movie starts out with a cold open. We have, his name is Millard. He's a crazy killer. He's also
What was his first name? Because if I remember, it was a pretty horrible name.
Millard.
What's his first name?
Millard.
What's his last name?
Findelmeyer.
Millard Findelmeyer.
Yeah.
So that's his name, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
I also thought he was calling him by his last name when she was saying Millard at the end. Nope. No, that is his real name.
Millard. I mean, no disrespect to anyone named Millard in our audience, but it's an unfortunate name.
I've never heard of it. I guess you're kind of unique, but also kind of special because you share it with this crazy killer
with Gary Busey,
portrayed by an even crazier actor, Gary Busey.
Yeah, I don't know if we've mentioned that but
I have a question.
yeah.
What was your first exposure to Gary Busey?
Believe it or not, my first exposure to Gary Busey was watching Starship Troopers when my friend pointed to a character and said, "Hey, that's Gary Busey's son."
That's so disconnected.
All of my experiences with Gary Busey have just been comparing his appearance to his son's appearance from then on out.
The only other thing I've ever seen Gary Busey in, and my first exposure to him, was his appearance on The Apprentice, the TV show with Donald Trump. Yeah,
that's hilarious. All right, so Millard Findelmeyer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he's a crazy killer who bursts into a diner to rob the place and kills a bunch of people, but specifically kills the dad and the brother of our main character, Lee. And she was also at that diner, but instead of trying to fight Gary Busey, she kind of hid and cowered in the corner, and he was like, "I'm so sorry, I gotta shoot you because I promised my mother, but I'll let you live because you fear me." And I think her mother was not there, so her mother also, or her mother was there and she just didn't die. Not important, but she's also alive. So he's arrested, sentenced to die, and is sent to the electric chair. He's cremated, and his ashes are sent to a witch who is also his mother, and she mixes it with gingerbread spice mix and sends it to the bakery. Who owns the bakery? None other than Lee and her mother, Betty. This is, I think it was like almost a year after.
Exactly 1 year.
Yeah. So they get the mix, don't think anything of it, beyond like is this a different brand?
Oh, wait, actually, now that I think about it, it was like 5 years, because...
Was it?
Yeah, they mentioned he'd been on death row for 2 full years.
Oh, yeah.
So...
Okay, so it's
5 years, probably.
It's been some time.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. So Lee also is devastated because it's her brother's birthday, and he was supposed to be turning 21. But her and her mother own this bakery.
And they specifically specified that they were going to a strip club on his 21st birthday.
Yeah.
She spent a
lot of time talking about where they were going to go for his 21st.
I wouldn't say that to my sister, and I also wouldn't say it to my sister 5 years in advance.
I think she was planning on taking him to the strip club.
5 years in advance? What a gross thing. Anyway.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't care for this movie.
If you couldn't tell. So, now that we're over that, there's a couple other people that work at the bakery. They're not important.
We just made it through the cold open.
We're a little past the cold open. Okay, everything happens so quickly. I'm not going to get into detail of all that. She gets the spice mix, mixes it in. She makes a gingerbread man, and he's oddly shaped.
Yeah, it's like very just
tall
man standing straight up, like T-posing.
Yeah, not good. She puts the gingerbread cookie in the oven, and her neighbor comes over. They get into a fight. They crash into the oven, and of course the lights go out, but an electric shock goes down the pipes and into the oven, and out emerges a real-life
Gingerdead Man.
Gingerbread Man.
Gingerdead Man.
That's his alias.
Yeah.
Just so you know what this looks like, picture a cutout gingerbread man, but with a weirdly molded...
It looks like someone sawed off Gary Busey's face and just slapped it onto a giant gingerbread. It looks terrible.
It looks really bad. So then he just kind of goes around, starts killing them all one by one and attacking them. And at one point he stuffs one of the girls that works there into the freezer covered in whipped cream. And he also cuts off the mom's finger. I think it was supposed to be her ring finger.
It was
specifically,
her pointer finger.
Her pointer finger.
Well,
okay.
No, but it was supposed to be because it was her wedding ring.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
But like she very clearly reached out with her pointer finger when he cut it off.
So, they spend all night fighting this gingerbread guy, and at this point they've all kind of gotten injured. He's clearly very powerful in terms of strength and cunning, ability to hurt them. I'm not really sure how, but he's pretty menacing. He drives a car at one point as well.
With like a giant little rolling pin so he can touch the pedals.
Yeah. And then one of the guys that works there that had left comes back after going to see a wrestling match, and he calls himself the baker.
The butcher baker.
The butcher baker, which is... He manages to grab the Gingerdead Man and starts eating him to kill him, but that did not work, because then the Gingerdead Man just went into that guy's body. And they end up shooting their friend and shoving him into the oven and cooking him to kill him. I think almost everyone lives.
No, well,
the only people that die are the neighboring restaurant.
Her family from the beginning.
Yeah, well, I meant like
it, yeah.
I meant like, the end guys.
Yeah, I think this had body count like 4. It's
5.
5? Who was the 5th one? Oh, Gary Busey, yeah.
Oh, well, actually, then 6. Because there's Gary Busey, the brother, the sister. No, the brother and the dad.
Yeah.
Then you've got...
The girl and her father.
The girl and her father. And the butcher baker.
You're right, yeah.
That's technically a body count.
Body count 6. All right, that's not as shameful as 5, but...
No, but it's a slasher.
Yeah, it's not good.
Did I miss anything important?
No, you got absolutely everything of note.
Okay, good. There's not... Once the action kind of starts, it's pretty mindless.
Yeah.
This is another movie I had to force myself to pay attention to.
Mm-hmm. So, just some fun facts. This movie was directed by Charles Band, who you would probably know from the Evil Bong series of movies. It stars Gary Busey, who you might know from Lethal Weapon, Predator 2, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and the Buddy Holly story. Honest to God, I don't remember anything I've seen him in. So...
I told you the only thing I know him from.
Every single one of those movies is news to me that he was in. This movie has a sequel. It's called Gingerdead Man 2. Passion of the Crust. No, Passion of the Crust. What if I told you there was a third movie? The Gingerdead Man 3 Saturday Night Cleaver. So... Now, to answer your previous questions about what The Evil Bong is. So, The Evil Bong is a stoner horror comedy series of movies. It's about an evil bong that traps people in the bong world. And it features Tommy Chong.
I didn't know that.
You might know him of Cheech and Chong. He's the titular Chong.
Did I tell you? He was on The Masked Singer.
Oh my god, what a garbage show. So... Anyway, they take place in the same universe because there's a Gingerdead Man versus Evil Bong movie. So whilst people are being killed by a Gary Busey gingerbread man, and they're also being transported to the Bong world.
I think they also replaced Gary Busey in Gingerbread 2 and 3.
God.
Or Gingerdead.
Really, they couldn't afford Gary Busey. That's just...
I think they realized they needed a better actor. Is that all your facts?
There's not much interesting about this movie.
There's a lot of screw-ups in the movie that could be fun goofs, but I guess we talk about probably a lot of that in our next segments. Mm-hmm. Speaking of which...
Let's talk about... the good. Dun dun dun. So, there's not a lot.
No.
So, for starters, I will say, it was funny at times. There were a couple of jokes that he had that genuinely made me laugh. Like, they would always say it, like, with no pause for laughter, which is always how the best jokes are delivered.
I know you like that.
Yeah, New Girl does it. It's great. But he's like, let's find this Pillsbury doughboy and end him. There's another one where he's like, I'm gonna get this gun, I'm gonna shoot him, and I'm gonna blast him to crumbs. And just no one acted like that was an odd thing to say. And then the ever try a lady finger line before he chopped off the woman's finger. Those were all very, very funny. I quite liked them.
I liked them too. I didn't write them down because I didn't. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad you did, though.
I bet, yeah. It's a funny movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think there were good moments that I liked. Overall, don't really have much to say I liked. Mm. One thing I liked, the girls, like, wanting to leave at the beginning. felt it was a logical choice for a unlogical and stupid movie. I liked when he sliced off the mother's finger. This is one thing I really, when he freaking drives the car and they explain it so that I'm not sitting there going, how the frick is he doing this? I liked that, and I really enjoyed the cherry nipples.
That was an odd decision that he stripped her down, covered her in whipped cream, put cherries on her nipples, and then left the freezer.
Yeah, listen, I'm not defending the choice to do that, but if you're going to cover someone in whipped cream, cherries are a great choice. It was, I think that was the one thing that I really laughed at.
Okay. I thought it was really funny that the character killed him by eating him. Because he, like, had him pinned down face to face, and it looked like this was this showdown, and he starts eating him. It was pretty cool.
I thought it was stupid.
And then lastly, Gary Busey is a very convincing murderer.
Yeah.
Possibly because I doubt he had to act for that.
Thank you for reading my mind.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the bad. The bad.
Number 1, gluten. There's gluten in this movie. They don't say it, but you can tell.
They don't say there's no gluten, and that's how you know it's there.
Yep. So that's the worst part of this movie by far.
I didn't realize that was what your biggest complaint was when I kept requesting we do this movie.
Yeah. No movie should ever have gluten in it. It's unacceptable. There's no effort to tell me that plastic prop doesn't have gluten in it. So why not just tell me it's gluten-free? And I'll rate your movie higher.
Can't wait to get a message from Charles Band going, yes, it is gluten-free. You can re-rate the movie now.
All right, yeah.
I'm going to cut that
I
out.
will give it, no, I'll give it a full extra point if they just say that some of the stuff is gluten-free in it. All I want is one token gluten-free character.
Those loaves of bread.
And I will grant you a full extra star. So, part of the reason I didn't want to do this movie is it just kind of, at a certain point, feels like we're clowning on a movie that's just the lowest of hanging fruits. No one went into Gingerdead Man really expecting it to be good, least of all me. And that being said, of all the movies we've seen so far, this is the most, like, redeemable almost. I have a series of things they can do to make it a decent movie. Like, there's no reason this should have failed and Zombieverse succeeded except for these mistakes.
I put this on in my mind as I thought it was going to be closer to the level of Zombieverse, but I think you're right.
So, aside from gluten, my biggest issue with this movie is that it just wasn't funny enough. I mentioned 3 particularly funny jokes, but that was essentially it. There was a couple of other bad puns. If it was just a funnier movie that took itself less seriously, it would have been awesome.
It's not campy enough, which is a complaint about a lot of movies, but this is a movie that is based off the idea of camp.
Yeah.
Like, that's the whole goal, right?
Yeah. Like,
so,
they're in the bakery the entire movie with nothing really saying they can't leave, but they're like, oh, we're trapped.
The dialogue was bad. You could have had like a little bit of Scooby-Doo-ness where they're running through the things looking for, running from this guy, like something. You're right. It wasn't funny enough, though.
If it was funnier, it would have been a much better movie.
It would have hit its goals.
The movie really has to spell out every emotion. At times, the characters were like, oh, I'm sad because it's my brother's. It should have been my brother's birthday, but he's dead. And I'm like, this is such a simple emotion for you to be spoon-feeding me. Like, it's one thing if it's a complex thing, but no, it's just sad, happy, and they're just spoon-feeding it to you. It was like written by someone who hadn't actually ever been a person. He's like, these emotions feel sad.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. The overall, even like beyond emotions, the action was also kind of they did a lot of just walking themselves in circles and talking themselves in circles in regards to the action as well.
Right. Because the movie locked itself in a bakery for unclear reasons. So, also, the pacing was so absurdly slow for a 70-minute movie. Is the Gingerdead Man didn't appear until 25 minutes in. That's like not quite to a third of the way through the movie, but it's close. Oh wait, no, it's past a third.
Yeah, you're right. 70 minutes.
Yep. Yeah, so past a third is the character is able to do anything, and the remaining 2/3 of the movie.
It is really slow. And a lot of the movie's not even about him and what he's doing. Mm-hmm. Him killing and being a threat is so minimal in backseat to this weird relationship / love triangle going on with this guy who looks like a unappealing.
There was a lot of this movie was either the guy across the street trying to get the bakery to sell him the land or the love triangle. It was insane how much of this movie wasn't about a gingerbread man killing people.
Yeah. Okay, so biggest thing I hate, special effects are rough.
Oh yeah.
The physical effects are rough. This creature gingerbread guy dead man is just, I know he's not supposed to look appealing, but it just doesn't look good either. It looks awful.
Looks like a styrofoam gingerbread man that Gary Busey stuck his face through. Is like it felt condescending almost.
I also gotta say, I thought he was gonna be much bigger. I didn't realize he was yay big.
I mean, when was the last time you ate a giant man-sized gingerbread man?
I thought he would grow with whatever.
Oh, that's a good idea. Okay, so a gingerbread man growing throughout the movie is awesome. You know the only thing more awesome?
What?
Is if it ended with him fucking winning.
Yeah.
And he goes to the bakery and starts printing thousands of himself.
Ooh.
That's a great movie.
Ooh. Actually, wait. I can tell you the last time I saw a giant gingerbread man.
Oh, was it in Shrek 2? Yeah. Yeah, I remember. I can tell. I can see the Shrek in your eyes.
There's always a little Shrek in my eyes.
The acting is particularly bad, but like
so bad.
But not even in like they're bad actors way. Is like their character will deliver a line, and I honestly can't tell if it's the actor doing a bad job or the character trying to sound insincere.
I have to say, I think it's the first one.
Yeah, it just was terrible.
Yeah, the acting was. You could tell they were trying their best.
I didn't mean to change the subject because I actually do have more thoughts on the effects. A lot more thoughts.
Okay.
So there's a lot of them like tripping on nothing.
Yeah.
There's one scene in which the two girls run away from the Gingerdead Man, and clearly there was a miscue. Because one of them starts running, stops, and then the other starts running, and they both run. It was clearly like one of them missed their cue, was either too early or too late. And then they're like, okay, now we go.
There was also a scene where the butcher baker's carrying a knife, and in one scene it's serrated, and the next it's smooth. There was a little bit of disconnect also with some of the blood that they had on. At one point, the neighbor's daughter, her blood did not match the other scenes, and it was quickly changed back, but I was just like, wait, what happened?
At times, the lighting is just so comically bad that they're like, well, we're not supposed to, by bad, I mean, they're like, usually when I say it's bad lighting, you can't see anything. This was the opposite. They were blasting them with light. And one of them's like...
It's supposed to be nighttime,
yeah,
too.
One of them's like, how are we going to get there? We can't see anything. And I was like, this is a well-lit room. And I realized that, like, the windows out back are black. And I'm like, is it supposed to be like dark.
It's supposed to be
in this
night,
room.
and the lights went out.
Yeah, I was like, the lights look on, if I'm being honest.
The other thing too, when she drops off the spice, it is like broad daylight, like has to be like 12 p.m. on a sunny day, but then it's night like a second later because the other guy's leaving work.
Lastly, with my bad effects, I have more bad to talk about this movie. There was this one scene where these two girls are fighting, and they would like get in each other's face and just kind of wave their hands around like they were hitting each other. Clearly not doing anything, while you would hear like pow, 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 pow. Just the most comic book effects of punching each other. And one of them like wound up and it was like pow, bang, like Batman effects. And just there was like the most obvious stage fighting workshop you've ever seen is as they fake slapped.
I'm not gonna lie, that's when I started checking out.
Yeah.
But also, that scene ends with her putting a pie in the girl's face, and literally the next scene over, she has zero remnants of pie anywhere, her face, her hair, anywhere. And they like have her holding a towel so it looks like she wiped it off post-fight, but I don't know when she would have.
Yeah.
And also, there still would be some pie.
Yeah. The audio quality in some parts is just unacceptable. There's like one scene where I don't remember exactly what happens. I think she finds out her mom's in an oven or something. She's like, "Why did you do that?" And it was just gonna translate to as crazy to hear on whatever Spotify or whatever you're listening on this on. That's how horrible it sounded to hear it on the DVD.
So you have the DVD. You didn't.
Oh
have
yeah,
to
that's
sit
right. I
through-
do have the DVD.
You didn't have to sit through commercials.
Want me to grab it and read you the back?
Oh wait, yes I do.
The Gingerdead Man. Out of the oven and into your heart. In a quiet, small-town diner, a deranged person, Millard Findlemeyer, parentheses, Gary Busey, close parentheses, opens fire on the Lee family, killing all but the daughter, Sarah Lee, parentheses, Robin Sidney, close parentheses.
Oh, I was saying her name wrong.
Is it not Robin Sidney?
No. I kept referring to her just as Lee, as if that was her first name.
During the trial, Sarah's testimony sends Millard to the electric chair and his ashes are sent to his mother. In a vow of revenge, Millard's mother mixes her son's ashes with a secret gingerbread cookie mix, which makes it its way into Sarah Lee's bakery. One of the bakery employees, Brick Fields, cuts his arm and accidentally bleeds into the mixture. Oh yeah, that's something else I had an issue with. He fucking bled into the...
Yes! I forgot about that.
Into the dough, and then, like...
They just made it? I'm sorry, what?
Like, he dripped onto it a couple of times. This wasn't, like, the tiniest bit of blood fell out as he was moving his arm by it, as he was holding it over, going, "Oh, no!" As it was like, drip, drip, drip,
Yeah,
drip.
he purposely put it in there.
Anyway, so the old curse spawns a deadly 12-inch tall, walking, talking, killing gingerbread cookie, and wreaks havoc on anything standing in his way.
Good God. They spent more money on whoever wrote that than they did on this whole movie. I will say they purposely chose to do it cheap and low quality.
So the end of the movie culminates in whatever her name is. Lee is trapped in the oven, and he's like, "I'm gonna cook ya." And her buddy, boyfriend, love triangle mate gets the gun and shoots the pan, which is locking her in there. And then she opens it. It was just so anticlimactic because the gun was next to him. He reached over, grabbed it, and shot it. And I was like, he didn't fumble for the gun. He just grabbed it and shot and hit it in one shot, and that was that. It fixed everything. There was no tension in it whatsoever. It was essentially like not any spooky, not any more tense than him just standing up and letting her out.
Right. There was no tension in this movie. Although they really wanted to be in this love triangle.
So, lastly, they had this one character. I don't even remember her name because she was such a minor character. But she was just such a, like, tasteless portrayal of a Latina character.
Oh, Julia.
Yeah, she's like, her first sentence, she's like, yeah, I was just on the phone with that pendejo loco. And I'm like, oh, good, we're handling this tastefully, I see.
Yeah. Not great. I know you liked it. I did not like that he ate the gingerbread man.
I thought it was funny. I didn't like it.
All right. I didn't even think it was funny. They could have thrown a net over him and just stepped on him.
Well, then he would have just rebaked himself.
Listen, I know how to break up a body, okay? Anyways, that's my last gripe.
Okay.
The
spooky!
Ooh.
So, what did you find spooky about this movie?
Gary Busey.
Yeah.
Next question.
I literally, I wrote nothing.
I wrote Gary Busey.
By nothing, I mean I literally wrote the word
Nothing.
Yeah.
It's not a scary movie. The only reason it's horror is because he goes and kills people.
Yeah, I mean, if I remember correctly, we did struggle quite a bit with Zombievers as well.
In terms of
in terms of spooky, we're like, not much. It was a funny, campy movie, and part of that means that you recognize what's happening and
I think
feel
it
a
at
little
least
safe.
had something to say.
Yeah. I mean, I would say the same with Evil Dead, which was another possibility we discussed this week of a movie that just... It's very good. It just... There's not much spooky about it.
I think that has spookier moments, though, than...
Not the original, I mean, not the...
Yeah. I think there's at least one spooky moment, if not. It's a little on the campier side,
Yeah.
sure, but...
It's very campy.
But it's also the 1970s. You gotta...
It was the 80s.
It was the 80s?
It was.
I thought it was... Okay.
Anyway, so just some overall thoughts. I think I said everything, but it's kind of just low-hanging fruit making fun of this movie because we knew it was going to be bad. It doesn't feel good. This isn't why we started this podcast.
I thought that was the point of this podcast, was to watch stupid B movies.
I'm starting to think that...
I think we've reimagined what we're doing.
I think what people enjoy hearing about is why they shouldn't see hyped movies.
Yeah.
Or why they should see underhyped movies. And I think no one is going to be like, oh boy, the Gingerdead Man, I wonder what was wrong with this one.
That's a good point.
So, I don't know. People will vote with their views, but...
I know what the views are going to look like. They're going to look like probably exactly what they look like for Leprechaun because that movie didn't do well either.
Yeah, and then I bet you $1 million that our best episode in a long time is going to be Megan when it comes out.
Of course. So yeah, this movie sucked. It really... I don't know. I think people do like it. I mean, I saw some positive reviews online for it, which I was surprised about. But they like it as like a dumb movie to trash.
It lacks the humor that made Zombievers good.
You're right, because Zombievers was so fun. Yeah, they could have done... Honestly, it's not a bad concept. That's not even the worst part about it. It's the very poor execution where they didn't take it far enough. If you're going to commit all the way. Mm-hmm. I guess if you're going to do it, commit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's all I got.
Yep. So the Joseph DeStasio Memorial Line highlight is Gary Busey talking to a mouse in the bakery going, "Hey, rat, I'm talking to you. You want a piece of me? Hey, you little shit, fuck off. Come over. I want to kick your ass. I'll kick your little rat ass." And that was just Gary Busey ranting at this rat with like no humans in the area.
I would have watched an hour of that.
Mm-hmm. And then, regrettably, I also have to give you guys my Ian McGregor Memorial Line highlight, which is, ever try a lady finger? And then he chops off the old woman's finger. Rest in peace, Ian.
I'm glad you had a backup for that one.
Yeah. So you ready for your rating?
I give it a 1 for one lady finger.
Mm-hmm. I give it a 1 for one additional dead friend every week. Every time there's going to be a new quote until it's just Ash and I reciting the entire script to you guys.
So yeah, thank you all for listening. If you didn't, we understand.
I don't blame you by any means. I don't listen to us. But that's because I get to live us.
Yeah, I only listen when I'm editing.
Yeah.
Which has been recently. Help. So with that, thank you all for listening, though. We really appreciate it. If you like what you hear, you want to give us some support, help us out, please leave a rating. If you're on Apple Podcasts, please leave a review. Not only does it help us, it also makes us happy. I really enjoy when we get them. Or if you want to give me a review directly.
Just to be clear, almost exclusively what it's for is to make us happy. Is at this point it's such a minimal effect on our like standings or whatever that we're just happy to get that little blasted dopamine.
Are you kidding me? Anytime there's interaction with the podcast, nothing bad could happen that day. It's a good day. So yeah, we really want to hear from you though. Also, love recommendations. Mm-hmm. The list is not small, but the list needs some life. And thank you again. Congrats to our winner of the giveaway. If you missed it, it's on Instagram, pinned in the highlights. Mm-hmm. And you can find us at Horror Sucks Podcast on Instagram, or you can check out our website, horrorsucks.com. Is that it? Am I missing anything?
That's it, yeah. Okay. What are we watching next week?
Oh, it's your choice.
So next week we're going to be watching Redacted.
If you really want to know, send me a message on the Instagram.
It's probably going to be Evil Dead.
Probably.
Right? Yeah.
Just the first one?
No, we're going to do the remake.
Oh, the remake. Yeah. Oh, the remake.
Yeah, we're going to that was going to be our Christmas episode, if I remember.
That's right. Because it's special.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
And, okay. All right, I'm good.
Okay, perfect.
Cool. With that,
stay spooky.
Horror Sucks is brought to you by Wild Thing Media. Editing's done by me, and production done by Carter. Thanks for listening.